You would be hard-pressed to find someone who doesn't like Samurai Jack. The show appeals both to kids who grew up watching it on Cartoon Network, and adults who caught it later in life on Adult Swim. It's one of my all-time favorite shows, and I say that entirely to defend myself as I inevitably give someone's favorite episode a low score, as I will be reviewing each episode in order and placing them on our YouTuber-friendly tier list. Now, I will be reviewing all the episodes relative to each other, so only a few episodes will be worthy of an S tier, and the episodes that go down to F tier aren't necessarily bad, they just suck compared to all the others. So, without further delay, let's review every episode of Samurai Jack. Wow, I can't believe they made the Samurai Jack intro into a real episode. I'll be honest with you, I spent most of my life not realizing there even was an episode 1. I thought Samurai Jack was a Mobius strip with no beginning or end. Seeing Jack grow up and train into a badass he becomes is actually really sick. Possibly the second best training montage I have ever seen. Too bad it's a bit rough around the edges and Jack doesn't sound anything like Jack for at least another episode or two.
For with the power of this sword I will vanquish Aku, sending him back into the pit of hate from which he came.
B tier.
Jack was out.
Jack.
Yo, Jack was
Jack.
Oh yeah, that's why he calls himself Jack. That's kinda stupid actually. I don't know. What I do know is this is one of the most exposition and dialogue heavy episodes of the series. Jack destroys a trash truck and then has one uncomfortable conversation after the next. Nobody's having fun. Jack least of all.
Jack was
Jack.
The Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa is one of the most respected and impactful art house movies of all time. Now imagine watching that and thinking to yourself, I could do better. That's what the Samurai Jack people thought, and fuck dude, they sure did. Its action is vastly improved with that distinct Samurai Jack flair, and also, dogs. A tier.
Bark.
This one's aight. It's the first normal episode, but there's really nothing special about it. Watching Jack slowly realize how fucked the situation is pretty interesting. The Mandark guys bounce between funny and pretty annoying, but really there's not much here that isn't done better in other episodes. D tier. Sorry. Oh hey, I love the Jetsons.
Only be able to use our science for good.
no.
Oh hey, I love SpongeBob. First time we see Jack sacrifice going to the past to help others, and it hits pretty hard here.
Meet George Jetson.
Oh no. Oh no. Jack, no. No. S tier. Beautiful episode. This show straight up tells its audience to shut up and just listen for several minutes straight, which is pretty bold for a show on Cartoon Network. Watching Jack tremble at the end of this episode is just heart-wrenching. This is an easy S tier. Jack is one of the most well put together characters in all of fiction. Guy has the wisdom of all the greatest wise men around the world and the mental fortitude to match. The thing is, he's put in such a terrible place anyone with even an ounce less of mental strength would have lost it or gave up a long time ago. Only Jack could possibly survive in these conditions, but even he's cracking at the seams. Anyway, this episode's about that. A tier. Episode 9. Too Much Water. C tier. Easy. Arguably one of the saddest episodes. It starts off with Jack doing some badass dungeon diving stuff, and it ends with some guy pleading for Jack to kill him. But look at that smile. B tier. Oh, it's this episode. S for Scotsman. Boom, done. Okay, actually maybe I should take a second longer than that. It has one of the greatest insults ever aired on TV.
Yeah, figure that, Mr. Pajama wearing, basket face slipper wielding, Clyde Street buckle.
Boom, S tier. Easy as that. Jack stabs a bagpipe. S tier. Boom. Really, I could do this all day. The fight between them is incredible, and them fighting together is almost as good. S tier.
Yeah, see?
Crime Jack is my favorite Jack. Overall, very fun episode. You got cliche mobster accents, elemental monsters, and even a quick Aku battle. The only thing not to love is Jack getting cold-cocked by a 2-foot soprano wannabe, but we do get to see Jack in a very snazzy suit. Thank you, Jack. Very stylish. B tier.
Oh, the wicked samurai.
Oh man, what is going on here? I always figured this episode was from when the creators knew they weren't going to get the show renewed and decided to just fuck around, not from season 1. Doesn't even make sense all these kids would know Jack all that well yet anyway. I love Aku, but man, this is him at his worst. F tier.
Bane again. This gate.
Rumor has it this was originally supposed to be a series finale, so if you were ever wondering why it straight up ends with Jack a second away from ending the entire story, that's why. This episode is episode 3 from the previous season, but a little better in every way. It's the best training montage I know of, and it has jump good. Go on, jump up there, little buddy.
My right arm is a lot stronger than my left arm.
Probably the first seriously intimidating villain in the show that doesn't exist just to get chopped up by Jack. When he finally does chop them, it's just that much more satisfying. B tier. What if Samurai Jack didn't use a samurai sword? This episode is just an excuse to let Jack show off how much of a badass he is no matter what's in his hands, which is definitely more than enough at times. Oh, what, this asshole is back again already? I love the Scotsman, but he doesn't get a free S tier just for showing his face. Let's see here. Too much. A tier for... This episode is Samurai Jack, but more so. Samurai Jack is a lot about taking its time, but compressing several episodes into a single episode worked pretty well. I'm gonna give this episode the highest award it deserves. B tier! This episode I feel is one of the slowest and most emotional. They say a story is as effective as much as it makes you feel, and seeing Jack fighting away the tears makes me feel things I thought were dead. I hate it. D tier! I hate crying! Episode 7 may be one of the more iconic episodes. They put in everything you would expect out of a Jack episode. Quiet wandering, flashy battles, battle-damaged Jack remembering why he fights to renew his determination. However, rocking an average plot only nets you an average score. Episode 8. Easily the worst episode. Nothing of value here. What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? What were they thinking?
The most exciting elevator-based combat that can be observed by the naked eye. I felt the enemies here weren't set up to be as dangerous as they turned out to be, so it felt odd that Jack was never able to turn the fight on them and hardly even attempted to. It was cool to see an episode where Jack straight up loses, but since he kinda gets to survive due to Deus Ex Machina, I can't really rate this one highly. Super sick fight, one of the more iconic villains, and jam and soundtrack. Gonna give this one B tier. Honestly, when I first watched this, I thought it was an episode made by a guest writer or something. Samurai Jack could be really out there, but this one blows even the Aku fairy tale episode out of the water. But we do get to see Bank Robber Jack. Thank you, Jack. Very stylish. We even get Alice in Wonderland Jack. Thank you, Jack. Please don't do that again.
Sparta!
300 before 300, based on the graphic novel 300. Very good. Impossible not to like. But you know what's cooler than 300?
The 300 plus 1.
A tier. In this episode, Jack shops for shoes. Seriously, that's what it's about. A tier.
Oh my god. Cheers.
Oh no, not this one. The entire episode, I'm thinking, why are they doing this? What were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
Here's the secret about this episode. The entire thing is a setup for a single joke.
What'll it be? The chicken, right? No! No chicken!
I mean, no thank you. Actually, I would like to try the shrimp today instead.
I mean, that's pretty funny. F tier though. In this episode, we have arguably the most interesting antagonist outside of Aku himself. It's Western themed, but it reminds me more of a Jackie Chan flick, mixing comedy and action together pretty incredibly well. Overall, an A tier episode. Jack fights zombies. Boring. Been there, done that. F tier. Well, okay. Aku getting the sword is actually a seriously wild moment. This changes everything. I can't give this episode anything lower than a D tier. Oh shit, sorry I fell asleep, but what's happening is this. Oh shit, is that a giant penguin? I don't know what's going on, but this looks like a C tier. Oh, I love this guy. Episode starts off a little quiet and slow, but in a good way. The anticipation only makes what's to come all the better. How can you not enjoy that carefree smile, that infectious laugh? Along with that seriously dramatic speech at the start, he makes for an imposing antagonist that you know Jack can't beat. Especially that shot of King Jack at the end and wait a second, that never happens. I can't give this an S tier. Down to A with you. Oh, I hate this guy. Check this shit. Boom! F tier. Don't eat Jack's food. This is just that other episode where Aku tricks Jack, but worse. At least they don't try making a twist a second time around, and they make it obvious from the start. Aku is always a delight to have on screen, so it has that going for it, but unfortunately really not much else. C tier. Oh, now this is fucking spooky. I know someone got some serious nightmares from this episode, but it also has this sick traditional painting style, so little Timmy could suck it the fuck up. B tier. Here we got old tree dudes, Jack losing another portal, and of course,
Yes, and water beetle.
all the classic signs of a C tier. The most Samurai Jack episode of Samurai Jack, and it doesn't even include Samurai Jack. Hardly a single line of dialogue is spoken, and it's all the more kick-ass for it. Aku isn't the guy I thought needed an origin story, but boy am I glad he got one. Sad ending though. Oh shit son, is this a part 2? What a crazy invention! Who would have ever thought of such an insane idea of connecting 2 different episodes together to tell a longer story? Oh, the episode itself? Quite good. The penguin comes back. He's less of an asshole. The sword gets made. Super sick. A tier. Is this as mediocre of an episode as I remember?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
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 Out of all the guys Jack has teamed up with, this guy has to be the most annoying, which is a shame because I liked what they were going for, but there was just something lacking in the execution. I want to give this a good score, but
Can't do it, pal.
You must.
I can't.
You must.
I can't.
You must.
I can't.
You must.
okay, I'm gonna get it out of the way quickly. One of the best fight scenes ever in anything. Crazy cool concept, and this has got to be one of the sickest lines.
I know your arts as well. But I have been trained to use the light.
But does that make for a good episode? Well, yes. But does that make for a perfect episode? I'm going to say no. The fight doesn't start until at least a little bit past the halfway mark in the episode. The first half is the shinobi stalking Jack and watching him do pretty generic Jack stuff. It's not bad, but for over half an episode to not be great, it falls short of an S tier.
Go big mode, William. Go big mode. 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 Go big mode.
Damn, this is another pretty solid episode in a row. MC Hammer over here is kind of a jerk, but he's a damn entertaining one. I'm just sad about Jack's water. Dude doesn't deserve such disrespect.
You look pretty good out there.
I don't like this one. We got another form of evil Jack, but instead of it coming from the mental stress of a terrible situation, it's just some shit that happened to him out of nowhere. Now, the last part is pretty cool and all, but that's the only thing saving this from a lower score.
Stupid, if you ask me.
I'm not sure what I like most in this episode. The reverse in perspective, seeing Jack from the bounty hunter side, the stylized visuals with each prediction told in matching art styles, or the moral of the story.
It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life.
I like the jacket in this episode. Thank you, Jack. Very stylish.
Like, I'm not Samurai Jack.
A lot of Samurai Jack has some sweet music, but this one really hits, especially as it's relevant to the story. Cool fight. Neato. This is their second time doing a two-parter, and the pressure must have got to them. They finished the story a little over halfway through the episode and just fuck around for the rest of the duration. The funny part is, this might actually be the best part. It's completely stupid, but good.
Wow.
Sorry, I hate anime. D tier.
Ouch.
I'm surprised it took so long for these two to meet like this. These two opposing forces are both so entertaining on their own. I can only imagine the chemistry when they finally meet face to face.
East, right.
You know where that is?
Yes, I will find it. Do not worry.
You sure?
No, don't worry. I remember now.
I can give you a ride if you...
I will find it.
Well, that was...
Idiotic!
That was...
Stupid!
That was amazing. A tier.
Extra thick!
This is like the previous series of short stories, except worse, in every way. It doesn't have anything especially wrong with it, it's just so dull and without any standout merit. Also, I just remembered, I hate anime. F tier. I dig the noir aesthetic, I like the hard-boiled voiceover, but so much of this episode is voiceless action shooting at unseen enemies. It's like they challenged themselves to make episode 5 of this season worse in every way. At least it had a cute dog and oh no! D tier. Like episode 1, but better. Okay, not really. There's obviously a lot of differences. There's a training montage, but it's not about the training. There's a fight at the end, but Jack actually wins this fight. We don't actually hear Jack in this one, and well, that's arguably true about episode 1 as well.
Sword, I will vanquish Aku, sending him
Ending
back.
an overall fantastic series on a seriously low note. Let's just throw this one a D tier and be done with it. And there we have it for now. Now, there is an obvious absence of the Adult Swim episodes, which I do plan on reviewing in a part 2. But I plan on keeping those rankings separate as they are quite different from all those that came before, and frankly, it just feels like apples to oranges. If you are interested in seeing a part 2, please leave a like, but if you would prefer me keep my filthy opinions to myself instead, leave a comment down below and tell me why the stupid ass chicken episode is your favorite.